boys and girls, babies in your diapers. Welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
Today, we're gonna talk about some very awesome stuff. We have a cool video game to talk about, a great book about the future, marble and score report, and I got a totally awesome guest. The one, the only, Mr. Chris Florence. Chris is a filmmaker who happens to be a Christian. Thanks for being on the show.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Today, we're going to start off with the video game of the week, and this is going to be a blast.
And now it's time for the video game of the week.
Today's video game of the week is Quake 3. So this game is on the PC, Mac, Linux, Steam, and Xbox, and so many more. This game was made by a company called ID Software back in 1999. It was so popular that professional players earned the money playing the game in tournaments. My dad really loved the game when it came out, and along with some of his friends, they made custom maps for the game. This game is called an FPS or first-person shooter game. You have weapons such as shotgun, pistol, plasma gun, and my favorite, the railgun. The railgun works like a sniper rifle. You have different modes of play like Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, and the most popular, Deathmatch. Deathmatch is everyone for themselves, so there are no teams. Each person looks like an alien on the screen, and you have to shoot them to get points. If you fall off the map, you lose a point. I like the space maps because you can push people off the map and then lose a point. Some maps have large open spaces and others have close walls to make it hard to see long distances. Some have teleporters and special abilities that you can pick up. You can get the ability to be invisible, to fly, and my favorite is the Mega Health. You get twice as much health as everyone else, and well, it is best if you get it with quad damage, which is when you shoot for 4 times the damage with any weapon. I really like playing with bots to get better, and it is so much fun to play with my dad and his friends. Playing with custom maps is very cool because the person that made the map can change the way the game works and what the world looks like. They can put ammo and guns in different places that are hard to reach, so you have to take a risk in order to get them. My favorite custom map is Revenge from Blue Screen, a friend of my dad's. He makes the best maps. This is an older game, but it is still so much fun anytime if you get a bunch of people together. You can put up to 64 people in the same game. Parents should note that this is a shooter game, but there is no blood, and body disappears when the player dies. Parents should play with their kids so they know how the game works and see how your child reacts to it. I give Quake 3 10 out of 10 stars because I love sniping and I can get the practice on my marksmanship skills. This game is not for all kids since it has guns and you do shoot at other players. But it is so much fun to play with your family and friends. If you are ever injured at work or in a car accident, you should call my friend Chuck. Wait, you are not Chuck?
My dad can help when people get hurt. He loves to help. You can call him at 407-801-2667.
cwsmithlaw.com. The website again is cwsmithlaw.com.
Does it actually have that much W's?
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And now we're all ready for the Book of the Week.
And now it's time for the Book of the Week. The Turtle Twins and the Fate of the Future. This book was written by Connor Boyack. Let me read you the back of the book. In fact, Chris, would you do the honor?
Should we coerce others to get what we want? The history of the world is a tale of some people bossing others around, but brave thinkers have always offered ideas for a better future where people use persuasion instead. And after Ethan and Emily watch a dystopian film portraying a future full of coercion, they realize that they need to learn how to avoid it. Enter Murray Rothbard, author of Anatomy of the State, whose book teaches the Tuttle twins that the fate of the future and all of humanity depends on thinking of ways we can work together peacefully to build a better society without relying on coercion.
So first off, this is not an AR book, so you don't get any points for reading it. But my grandfather gave me the Tuttle Twins books, and I read them with my dad. I always seem to learn something new about the government and our leaders. So the twins belong to a book club, and they are supposed to do a project along with the book they read, and include all the members of the club. They read a book called Anatomy of the State. This is a big book which explains what a state is and why we have them. See, a state is a list of government-style rules that covers a certain territory or land. You can see lines on maps separating the land by the government that is in charge of it. After watching the movie where a few people controlled robots and made all the people work, the twins decided they wanted to find a way to make sure that would never happen in real life. So in their project, they learned the difference between coercion and persuasion. They got each of the club members to help take a problem and use persuasion to solve it rather than coercion. For those that don't know, coercion is when a group of people force you to do something you don't want to do out of fear or violence or loss of property. Such as the gang is going to smash your store if you don't pay them not to. The best way to tell if someone is coercing is if there is an or else at the end or another threat. A business that uses coercion would be like saying, buy my stuff or else. Instead, we use persuasion. This is where we attempt to get someone to make a decision by changing their mind. So a business that uses persuasion would say, please buy my stuff. We have the best quality in town. See, there's not a threat at the end. The best way to stop coercion is to allow competition so people have a choice. Each of the members of the book club designed a way to help have more persuasion. One offered an app and website to allow poor people to post why they needed help, which allowed people to choose who they wanted to help. Another member said it would be cool if we could select which items we wanted our taxes to go to. So more things could be done when enough people chose that item on their tax list. I give the Turtle Twins and the Fate of the Future 10 out of 10 stars because I really liked at the end when everyone made a city out of Legos and made rules with persuasion rather than coercion. And I thought the picture of the church saying donate or else was funny. I think all kids should read this book.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of our awesome sponsors, SlutChannelUS.com. These guys are very, very cool. They bring 21st century surface drainage solutions to reality. They can do corporate and government work. These are the guys that make roads and bridges safe in the rain. You can see all about them at SlutChannelUS.com. That website again is SlutChannelUS.com. The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of our dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom Braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering, to trophies and awards. They can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373.
And now it's time for our interview of an interesting person. Today's guest is going to be so much fun. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Mr. Chris Florence.
Nice.
Chris used to be a realtor and then got into marketing like my dad. Now, he's a filmmaker. That means he makes movies, and I love movies. So first off, how are you enjoying being on the show?
It's been awesome so far. It's kind of fun to watch you work. I have 3 kids, so I'm used to this kind of level of activity, so it's been nice.
Okay. So my dad said you are a Christian filmmaker, but your bio says you are not a Christian filmmaker. But instead of a filmmaker, that happens to be a Christian, so what is the difference?
That's a good question. I think the best way to answer that would be to understand. Have you ever watched a Christian film?
What is a Christian film?
What is a Christian film? A Christian film, that's a good question. A lot of people would identify that as one specific thing, but I believe that it can look many different ways. And that's probably my biggest gripe with Christian films. But Christian films is when you have a protagonist. Okay, so the main character of the story has some sort of an issue. Usually it's a marital issue. There's the main plot points of a Christian film that's extremely predictable. The thing that usually is happening is there's some sort of a big issue in a marriage, and then they have a difficult time, then there's a come to Jesus moment, and then the marriage is fixed. Sometimes they'll include, or they will represent somebody who doesn't believe in Jesus, and they won't be very fair in their depiction of that person. A lot of times he's the bad guy. And so that's kind of sort of what a Christian film is.
Okay, so what is the best part about being a filmmaker?
Telling stories and being able to create something from nothing, I think, is probably the best thing about being a filmmaker.
So, when you were a kid, what did you want to do when you grew up? Did you always know you were going to make movies?
No. Not at all. I didn't even really care. I mean, I liked movies growing up, but I wasn't obsessed with anything in particular. I mean, I watched Indiana Jones movies like all the time, and the classics, E.T., all those different movies that kids from the 80s watch. And I just enjoyed them. But as I got older, I got into marketing, and then I actually had video gear already because of marketing, and so I ended up just deciding one day, you know what, Christian films really suck, so I think I want to try to do what I can to improve on them, rather than complain about them. So rather than coerce others, right, instead of coercing others to make better films, I'm making better films to hopefully provide an argument that, hey, it's possible to make better Christian films. There you go.
So many years ago, we have Mr. Kenny Howard, who is a Tony Award winner and producer of Broadway plays. He had a director and an editor that worked for him. But your bio says you do all 3 jobs. How do you have the time to do all of it?
That's a good question. I think it's not an easy balance to be able to make with family and running a business and being able to kind of just time manage it all. But I'm the kind of person who I like to come up with shortcuts. Do you like shortcuts? Mm-hmm. As long as they work, right? I mean, as long as the shortcut works. If it's a shortcut and your job ends up being total crap at the end, then that's probably not a good thing. But if you can do a shortcut and you can come up with a better way to be able to accomplish something, then that's a good thing. So that's what I do, is I come up with a bunch of different ways of shortcutting and being more efficient in the way that I work. So
which of the 3 jobs do you like doing the most?
I would probably say that the editing is probably my favorite part, just because you can kind of start. There's actually a saying that says that there's 2 stories. There's the story that you wrote, and then there's a story that you discover in the edit. Do you know what that means? Mm-hmm. So basically, you have this idea, or this preconceived thing, and then when you start putting it all together, all the pieces together in post, and that's when you're editing. That's when I say post, that's what it means. And when you put all of those things together, you realize that there's something different than what you had planned originally. And so you can kind of like adjust your end game to be able to fit what you have, all the footage.
So I read that you made a sci-fi movie. What is it about?
It's about time. Yeah, it's about time.
When can we get to see the movie?
It's actually premiering at a film festival here in Orlando in May, at the beginning of May. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, which is terrible, but...
Okay. So if your listeners wanted to grow up being a filmmaker, what advice would you give them?
To not take yourself too seriously, I think. To have fun with it. I think that if you can't have fun with whatever that you're doing in life, then you should probably find something that you would have fun doing and make money doing it. So.
Okay. So when you are not making movies, what is your favorite thing to do?
Actually, I like writing, which is kind of weird because I wouldn't consider myself the best writer, but when I discovered screenplay writing, I actually started realizing that it's fun, and so I think that writing a book like this, I don't know if I could do that, but I could definitely write a screenplay. So
my teacher says that I'll use math every day. Do you use math when you are making movies?
No, not in the least. But it is important.
What else do you do for fun?
Hang out with my kids, have fun with them. We do a lot of, go to like a lot of trampoline parks and stuff. Do you like trampoline parks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you play video games? What's your favorite one?
Actually, I don't play video games. I was actually talking about this last night with my wife because I have really bad, I get motion sickness really easily. If I can't see the horizon, and what's weird is I used to play games all the time as a kid. It just started happening when I was an adult. And so my son was trying to show me something he built in Minecraft, and he was giving me a tour of it, and by the end of the tour I thought I was going to throw up.
So what movie besides yours do you like?
Actually, there's kind of a love-hate relationship about my own movies. When I watch them, I'm just kind of man, why didn't I do this? But probably my favorite movie is Inception. You see that movie?
I haven't seen
Oh, my goodness. Yes, it's a great movie. I like sci-fi movies, so yeah, absolutely. Are you a sci-fi fan?
No.
Oh, come on.
My favorite movie, except for your Strange Hills. You know why?
Is that why?
Because that's how I started the radio show.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay. Can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid show, but that one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about.
The one story is not supposed to tell you about?
Not supposed to.
I'm not sure. I wasn't prepared for this question. Yeah, so I had I went to a bachelor party. Went to a bachelor party. It's actually my brother-in-law's bachelor party, and there was a guy there, and I'm not going to mention the band that he is the lead singer of, but he's the lead singer of a prominent band. We were outside, and we were camping out on this property. It was about 100 acres. So we had a fire going, a bunch of guys sitting around. We cooked a steak, there was a lot of manly stuff going on there.
Did you just say steak?
Oh yeah. And so basically, one of the guy I'm referring to, he said, "Let's get naked." And I'm going, why would a bunch of dudes get naked in the woods? It makes no sense whatsoever. And so he strips down and he starts running around the woods naked without a flashlight or anything. And there was a guy out, and he was taking a phone call on his cell phone. He's out there talking, and so he goes running out there, and he starts running around him in circles, completely naked, and he's singing that song, "Running, running, run, running, running." I don't know why, but that's what he did. So yeah, I guess that's the story that I probably shouldn't tell you. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very close too. I almost cried there, so. Is there anything else that the listeners should know about you?
When I talk negatively about Christian films, it's not to disparage the people who make them. I'm sure their hearts are in a good place. I just get very frustrated with, I'm very much of a perfectionist, and so when I see people who don't work really hard to make a good film, it frustrates me, and I feel like it's just absolutely being lazy. And so, that's probably the thing that people don't know about me, is just that I'm a perfectionist at heart, and so I have to basically, by the time that it's over, like when I'm done editing, I'm like at the end of editing my film, right? And I look at it, there's so many things that I want to go back and change, but a film is really never complete. You just have to call it done. And so I think that, like, from the standpoint of being a perfectionist, that's always a hard thing to do.
Do you have a website or Facebook for my listeners that want to follow you?
Yeah, I do have a website, norsepictures.com, Norse pictures.com.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have Facebook too, but
What is a Facebook?
I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's, if you search for Norse Pictures, it should come up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chris, for being my special guest.
Yeah,
Can you stick
it was
around
fun.
for me, of course?
Sure.
Mid-State Fire has been providing top-quality fire equipment services for 3 generations to the Central Florida area. Don't wait for an emergency to repair. Call Mid-State Fire today at 407-246-8855. Get your fire extinguishers and emergency lighting for both your home and businesses by visiting www.midstatefire.com. That number again is 407-246-8855. The Tiberius Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator rights. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now to get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com. Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
Get ready, it's time for the Bowling Score Report.
This week, we did not go bowling at Skylands. They canceled it because most of the kids went to the Pepsi tournament. So I went to Boardwalk Bowling and practiced with my friend, Cora. My scores were 113, 57, and 105. Cora beat me on one game and overall pins, and it was fun. I got to see Daniel Bowen, who was the guest on my show a few weeks ago. He gave me some pointers. If you want to go bowling with me, be sure to join me at the Amos Youth League Saturdays at Amos College on BT at 10 a.m. in the morning, bro.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners.
Thank you so much, Chris, for having me at Math Corners. Today, we are going to talk about an area of the circle. So the first thing you need to know is the unit of measure. Since a circle is flat like on a sheet of paper, the answer will always be in square units. It could be in square feet or square inches. But if you don't know, you can always say square units.
Math was always my worst subject. So I don't know how much help I'll be here.
So I had some math homework where we got to estimate the area of the shaded part in the grid. Most of them were rectangles and squares, so I was able to tell the exact area of the polygon. But every once in a while, they would put a circle on the grid and we would have to estimate. I really wanted to know how to get the exact area, and my dad said I should ask Google. So I looked it up, and it said A equals pi R2. Now I love Star Wars like the next guy, but R2-D2 did not have pi. So my dad told me about pi. In fact, it's his favorite number. In 1 week, I will do a bass corners all about. But for now, it is a number between 3 and 4 that helps determine the area of a circle. It starts off with 3.14159, and what is cool about it is that you timed it by the radius twice. So the radius is half of the diameter. And on the grid, I can always tell the diameter. So if I divide that by 2, I can then multiply the radius by itself first, and then by pi, I get the area of a circle. So the equation is area equals pi times radius, or radius squared. For example, I have the diameter of 3 units, and that means the radius is 1.5 units. I can times 1.5 by 1.5 and get 2.25. And then I times that by pi, or 3.14. And then I get 7.0685. So the area of a circle would be, with a 3x3 grid, is 7.0685 square units.
And now it's time for Heart of a Lion. We, the Tiberius Show, like living with the heart of a lion. Living with the heart of a lion stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility.
This week we're going to talk about nobility. For me, I think nobility is remembering we are God's special possessions and acting in a noble way, showing courage and honor. The qualities of nobility are goodness, virtue, honor, generosity, and selflessness. Well, this week I did see nobility, and well, it was recorded. See, my dad tells me that the time that back in the day when he was young, certain reporters were considered to be the most noble of persons. As I was getting ready for the final interviews for the Orlando Seabus, my dad showed me videos of Dan Rather. He reported on important things and told the story with fairness and honor. I want to be noble as well, and I try to ask questions that are positive and fair. In fact, in my final interview with Gordy, he said that I never asked him why he missed any goals, and just questions that rise. Chris, did you see our news nobility or little speak?
Nobility, that's not something that you hear a lot about anymore, do you? I mean, usually when you think of the word nobility, you think of like knights and the Round Table and King Arthur, right?
The Knights and the Round Table.
Right. So it's definitely a word that is not as widely used in today's society. But I think it should be, based on what you just said. So, I think that going back to the comment you mentioned earlier about the reporters and stuff, you don't see that today. The reporters are not a noble breed like they used to be. And I've met reporters who were retired, and they talk about that there was like a certain code that they had to live by as reporters. And it was really great to meet. It was very refreshing to meet someone like that. So I guess I could say that I haven't met anybody this week, but I have met noble people in my daily walk.
What were the Heart of a Lion virtues? Which is your favorite?
I like the nobility thing. I like integrity too, but it's kind of interesting that, if you're looking at nobility, and you mentioned goodness and honor, and I think that integrity is definitely something that, is honorable. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome! And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, Mr. Chris Florence for being my special guest this week. You have been awesome, and I hope I get to see all your movies in the future.
I hope so too. Yeah, absolutely.
And be sure to listen to us next week on the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
The Tiberius Show is not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Executive producer, Joseph Boyd. Production editor, Pierre Laguerre. Green Room manager, Danny Boyd. Broadcast associate, James Smith. And your program host, Tiberius Boy. The Tiberius Show is copyright 2018.